What a throw by Patrick Mahomes.
Tyrone Matthew with the big hit. Mostert out of nowhere.
A perfect pass from Jimmy Garoppolo. The Chiefs, the 49ers, are big game bound.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Miami and the Super Bowl just 2 days away. This is Big Game Bound. I'm Jack Doles, and today we are joined by Chris Hagan, sports director at Fox 59 in Indianapolis. Jarrett Payton has been hosting this show all week with me, but Jarrett's got some Walter Payton Man of the Year responsibilities right now, and so
I'm very similar in stature and build. I mean, if I took the jacket off, you could see the guns, but I don't like to show off with all these NFLers around here. But you're right. The countdown. all year long, Jack, you've been doing the Big Game Bound show for the entire Next Star Nation. Now we've been on location, got here on Sunday. It seems like just yesterday, but it seems like 100 years ago because so much great content, so much good stuff going on the show. And we are right now hitting the home stretch when we're talking about Super Bowl weekend is finally here.
Chris, your 10th Super Bowl that you've covered. How does this compare in the build-up? I mean, do you see the growth in Radio Row from the first one you covered till now?
Oh, no doubt about it. It's one of those few things in life. You know, we've been to 100 games in our lives, and sometimes you kind of say, oh, another game. The Super Bowl is always exciting. No matter what, no matter the venue, no matter the teams, it is always exciting. And if you can't get excited being here, something's wrong with you because Radio Row, I mean, this thing is humongous now. Everybody has a booth. Everybody has their broadcast going on. Advertisers are here. We've seen high-level athletes. I saw Ric Flair. Woo! Woo! We're ready when Ric Flair is here. This is what it's all about. Football, our brand of football, uniquely American. This is America's game. The whole world is watching, but this is ours. And this is what we celebrate, and part of it is the build-up, part of the excitement, just like getting ready for the holidays, looking forward to it. What's going to happen? What's going to be under that tree? We don't know what's going to happen when they kick that ball off for Super Bowl 54, but, man, the build-up is always fun.
And it's amazing to walk through this room and, again, more yellow jackets. You see all these Hall of Famers. First person I saw when I walked into Radio Row today, Joe Montana, sitting there doing an interview.
I thought he was a real estate agent, but yeah, I thought
no big deal. Just Joe Montana joining us here on Radio Row. Hey, everybody.
So's JB Biunno.
Hey, I'm here with Jack Doles, Chris Hagan, representing Next Star Nation. So glad to be with you here on Big Game Bound. Our featured topic of the day, I'm going to introduce it for you. You see it along the top of our screen up here, everybody. Breaking down the Chiefs and 49ers defenses. We've been talking a whole lot about the 49ers defense here. Oh, a lot of guests who are coming up here on radio.
My boys, right?
T.Y. Hilton, everybody.
Come on, 30 seconds.
Come on, T.Y.
30 seconds, T.Y. We're live, nationwide.
You got to tell us about these
defenses.
defenses.
Come on, T.Y. Give me 1 minute. Look at this map. We're nationwide, baby. Jump up.
JB, he's going to talk him into
it. Look at T.Y. I'm going to make 30 seconds. I promise you, 30 seconds. One question with T.Y.
Okay.
He's coming. My
boy's
coming.
Oh,
He's on the clock. Where's he going?
Guest and T.Y.
He's very fast. T.Y. the Ghost.
He's fast.
Look at making it happen. Give it up right here.
You never know what's going to happen on Radio Row. You never know, everybody. Welcome to Big Game Bound, Radio Row, the Friday action here.
Watch your back.
Here comes T.Y. Hilton. Let's pop him up on camera.
We're going to be fast with T.Y. because I promise. T.Y. knows I don't lie to people.
And he's fast.
What's funny is somebody taps your shoulder and goes, hey, what's going on? I'm like, who's bugging me? I look up, it's our guy T.Y. Hilton, superstar wide receiver from the Colts. First of all, how you feeling? Had some issues this year. Everybody around the nation knows who you are. Are you going to be back 100%? Are you getting closer as we speak?
Oh, no, I'm definitely 100%. You know, I was 100% after the Saints game. Well, going into the Saints game, I was 100%. So after that, I started feeling good. My body felt good. You know, training room did a great job getting me back. So, you know, I'm good to go now.
What are you doing down here? We wish, the Colts fans I know, wish we were playing in the game, but you're just making the rounds because really, I know you're humble about this, but you're one of the faces of this league.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know, I'm from here. So, you know, every offseason I come here. This is why I work out at. I train at. So, you know, mostly every offseason I'm down here. So, you know, the Super Bowl down here which made a plus for me not to go nowhere. So it was special.
All right, so our big question today, we're breaking down these defenses. Which team has to have a bigger game, make the bigger plays, Chiefs or 49ers?
On defense?
Yeah.
On defense, I would think it would have to be the Chiefs because we know the 49ers have a tough defense, you know, that front four bring it. And, you know, they got a back end with Sherman holding it down on their back end. So the Chiefs, in order for them to win, you know, their defense is going to have to step up and play.
FIU in the house before we let you run. We told you we'd be quick. What about you've running up that secondary for the Chiefs? Sometimes they sleep on them. What do you think about their back end on the defense?
Oh, the Chiefs back end is unbelievable. You know, they play, you know, especially with the Honey Badger, you know, he leads that group. So, you know, he's the leader of that group. And as long as he gets those guys on the same page with Breland and, you know, Fuller and all them guys, they on the same page, they should be fine.
T.Y., I said we'd be quick. You know, I keep my word.
Yeah,
good looking out. Thanks for stopping. I owe you one.
Oh, thanks for having me.
As you take those headsets off, which round should I take you into the fantasy draft next year?
Oh, first round, baby.
Second round?
Second.
I told you he was humble. I told you he was humble. All right, T.Y., you're the man. Good to see you
Thank you very
again.
much.
How about that? T.Y. batting leadoff. And by the way, he can shoot three-pointers all day long.
I'm sure
when
he
you play
can.
basketball. We played in a celebrity basketball game, and people say, oh, T.Y., what's he doing here? I said, he's about to score 35 points just shooting three-pointers. But that's we talked about just at the top of the show. You never know who's going to show up. You look over your shoulder, you got a Pro Bowler wide receiver, T.Y., who played his college ball down here. I guess if you could live with anywhere in the country, regardless of your NFL team, Miami's not a bad decision.
You after spending a week here and seeing all the water and the sunshine, I think so. My question is, did T.Y. dunk on you, or was he your teammate?
You know what? He was my teammate, and I became Pat Riley because we were losing. We were losing by 1 point, and I said, look, T.Y., they're going to think you're going to try to shoot a three. Why don't you just drive the hoop? So they throw the ball in. There's like 4 seconds. T.Y. drives the lane. He makes this layup. You would have thought it was the NBA Finals. All these Colts players piled on top of him. You've seen this. You've seen athletes. They could just pick their sport. Some of these guys, they can play whatever they wanted to. T.Y. chose. Look how little he is. It makes my excuse of being too small to play in the NFL gone. T.Y. is barely taller than I am. He weighs like $115.
How's your 40 time compared to his?
You know, it might be a little slower. I'm not in peak condition right now. I've not been in training. But I could run a 4.4. But that's a 4.4 20-yard dash.
Yeah, I'm right with you.
But, yeah, that's you asked me if I'm excited. I get excited because you see all these people that you see on the field, and then here they are just walking around like they're shopping at the mall or something. There's T.Y. Hilton. And I know you've had great guests all week. We've got some more coming up today. But back to our whole question
featured
that
topic.
JB had.
Similar to the Mahomes versus Garoppolo question that we asked earlier this week on Big Game Bound, we're not asking you who's the better defense, just like we didn't ask who was the better quarterback. We're asking today, which defense is under the most pressure to have a big game on Sunday to be victorious in Super Bowl 54? Here are our poll results. 59% say it's the 49ers over the Chiefs defense. So I'll pop it up here on screen. There it is. You've been voting here on Twitter, on the Big Game Bound Twitter account. 40% Chiefs defense, 49ers defense, almost 60%. So a majority of folks think that the 49ers need to stop Mahomes and that high-octane Chiefs offense on Sunday to be victorious over the Chiefs defense.
JB, I respectfully disagree with the people voting. What are you thinking? Because obviously, Mahomes is great. They're going to score points. I think the pressure is on the Chiefs defense because if the Niners, Jack, are able to run the football and milk that clock and have 7-8 minute drives and just break the will of that Chiefs defense, what is Mahomes going to do if he's just standing there with his helmet on watching the game like the rest of us? I think the pressure is on the Chiefs defense to stop the run.
That's cute. I'm just going to be Captain Obvious.
All right, Cap.
Because Patrick Mahomes is in a Chiefs uniform. And so the 49ers have got to find a way to stop them.
Don't you think the expectation is, okay, the Chiefs are going to score points. We're going to have to outscore them. So you don't go in thinking like last year when you're like, oh, the Rams are just going to score 3 points. That's not going to happen with the Chiefs. Chiefs are going to score at least 24 points, I would say. So that puts the pressure on the Chiefs defense. We're going to put up some points for you. The offense put up some points. Now, you don't let them burn the clock and put up more points than us. So I think that's where it falls back on. I think if you're the Niners, you're like, what do you want us to do? It's Patrick Mahomes. I mean, come on. There's no pressure on us. He should go out there and put up some yards and points. The pressure on that Chiefs defense to get the ball back and don't let this thing be where they're playing catch-up again. That's happened to the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't think you necessarily want to fall behind because the Niners, as we've seen, they can play very well when they have the lead in the football game.
Yeah, I think the most overused cliche in sports right now is the chip on the shoulder.
Right.
When I talked to Anthony Munoz the other day, he called it a boulder on the shoulder. And because all the talk right now is about Patrick Mahomes, he thinks that the 49ers will walk in there with a boulder on his shoulder. And we've got a big guest right now. How about this? Bill Romanowski, who's 4 super. Are you wearing your rings?
I got one of them.
You got one of them.
Yeah.
You don't wear all
first
4?
one was San Francisco. Very special.
You know what I hate, though? When guys like you show up and they look great. He looks like he could go out and play right now.
I know.
What are you doing? Why do you look like this and I look like this?
And guys,
I need an explanation.
And guys, check out some of the photos here that we have of Bill back in the day.
Nice.
Look at that.
Oh. He's built the same way right now. He could go play at least a half of football, I believe, and make an impact.
Well, you know, when I left the NFL, I started a nutrition company. And that's literally what I eat, breathe, and do every day. I run Nutrition 53. And, you know, we have 3, flagship products. We have a fat-burning meal replacement, Lean One, a brain-focused product, Neuro One, and a natural sleep aid, Sleep One. And the combination of that, it's what I do every day. And I believe those are the pinnacles of staying in great shape, looking good, feeling good, staying lean, smart, and sleeping well.
So you're saying my diet of frozen pizzas and soft drinks isn't a good plan?
That may not be a good recipe for success.
Now, what is
Hey,
it?
hey, Jack, I think you need your Mountain Dew
Yeah,
here. Would you like your
No, I got my water.
When you talk about the discipline of being a professional athlete, how did that benefit you having the discipline to live the healthy lifestyle and to stay on the path? Because you see a lot of these guys, once they leave the league, it's no holds barred on that waistline.
Yeah, you know what? It's fit or fat. There really isn't much in between. And, to me, I was detailed down to, back when I played, to every calorie in my body had to count. And I wanted to make that calorie be the right calorie and have it work for me. So that's what I do now. I count calories. I put in my body what I know is good for it. And, hey, I told my wife, I said, you know what? If I die early, I'm going to be pissed off because I do all this stuff. I take 100 supplements a day. I drink my Lean One shakes, my Neuro One, Brain Focus. I do it, and literally, if something happens to me, I'm going to be peed off.
Bill, let's talk a little bit. I mean, you're a guy who was just a force on defense.
Yeah.
Which defense in this game has more pressure on it?
I think the defense that has the most pressure on it is the Chiefs. Because they
High five it right there. That's what I said.
Because they got to stop. If they don't stop, the 49ers running game, it's going to be a long day. Because the key to this game to me is keeping Patrick Mahomes on the bench, sustaining drives, and the only way to do that is the 49ers recipe is running the football. We all know that Jimmy Garoppolo, good quarterback, but he's not a guy that is good coming from behind. And if you put him in a position where it's got to be a shootout against him and Mahomes, we all know who's going to win that battle. It's going to be Mahomes. And Jimmy's good for one mess up a game. We all know that too. So when is that going to come? I almost, I've said on a couple interviews, I said, hey, I'd throw an interception early just to get it out of the way because it's going to come.
And that's what they've been able to kind of, I don't want to use maybe the word protect him, but if they're running the football and they're burning up 7-8 minutes at a chunk, you don't need Jimmy to go be a hero.
You
but
don't.
If you get in the fourth quarter, we were talking about this earlier, can he go out there and get you an 80-yard drive to Joe Montana style? I don't know if he can.
You know what? That is, hey, he did it against the Saints.
Right.
He came up big and, at times in that game where you're like, wow, he does have it. Where it's not all about, Kyle Shanahan protecting him, calling the perfect play, just making sure he doesn't put too much on his shoulders, because, Kyle is phenomenal at doing exactly what each guy, what they're capable of doing. And that's what brings out, the best in the players is when you have a coach that knows everybody's talent and how to utilize that talent to make it all work together.
So which of these two coaches would you rather have prepare you for this game?
Here, my X factor, I'm going to say this, is it's Kyle, and it's because he's got a dad that I played for who's won 3 Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, and watches every practice, every game, is a part of the installation. He talks to Kyle on a regular basis. And how nice is that to be able to, Mike Shanahan's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's probably arguably one of the best play callers in NFL history, one of them. And he's still sharp. He knows the game. And, I think it's a passion of his to be able to assist his son, not take credit for it. He sits in the background. And I think he's fine with that. And he's like, real proud of his son. It's like I texted him. I said, congrats, on the victory. You must be so proud. He said, you have no idea how proud I am.
You talk about going into the family business, that's for sure. Let me ask you something about this, because I remember watching you as a player, and you were like, I'm coming at you, I'm going to get you, you're in trouble. What do you think about obviously you want to balance the health of players after the game. What do you think about how would you incorporate your style of play with the rules now about so many things? You're not just instinctive. You're thinking about, I got to come in at this angle and don't do this and don't do that. You've seen that transition from your playing days until now.
Oh, I was one of the most fine guys back when I played, and I was a head hitter.
Right.
I used my head as a weapon, and that was my mindset. And to think fast forward to now, hey, the speed of the game, I was fast. I could cover. I was great on a tight end. I was great with, covering backs. That wasn't an issue. But I tell you what, when it came to tackling guys, these guys now, they get paid too. Okay? That's what I always used to say. They get paid too, and they get paid to make me look bad. And it's everything in my power to try to get them down. And I'm going to take my shot at times, using my shoulder on an every down basis. It would have been a hard transition. And when you have to think about it in the NFL, you are beat. You are beat. You can't think. You have to react.
So when you get a quarterback like Mahomes and you've got to get ready, I was the guy that had the red jacket, Captain Obvious on, and said it's all on the 49ers defense. How do you prepare for that guy in a film room? What are you looking for to help you be as prepared as possible for what he could do to you?
You know what? I think really what it is not trying to do too much. My great coaches that I played in Super Bowls for, started with Bill Walsh, George Seifert, and Mike Shanahan, and I won 4 Super Bowls with those 3 coaches. And the big message was, don't try to do too much. You play relentless football, but you play your responsibility and then fly to the ball. And as soon as you just focus on that, and it at times sounds easier than it is, because you want to make that big play in the Super Bowl. And I was fortunate to make big plays. I've had an interception. I've had a sack in Super Bowls, big-time hits. But staying in your lane and making sure that you have 10 guys next to you that you also hold accountable for their job.
What's the frustration level like with a guy like Mahomes? Because you've scouted the play. You recognize his formation. Okay, the play breaks down, and now he turns it into a 50-yard play.
Yeah. We had to play against Brett Favre. I know what that's like, and he was a master at that. It's Mahomes has got a little bit of him in him, but he's got a little more running ability than Brett. I played against Randall Cunningham, who was a guy back in the day that was fast. So,
I think you're getting waved in another direction, Bill. thank you so much for joining us.
Hey,
Love
awesome,
talking
guys.
football.
Quick
with a
plug.
guy
How
who's
can, we,
won
how can we get some of the
Yeah,
products?
you know, at Nutrition 53, we got a big Super Bowl special. Lean1.com. Lean One is our fat burning meal replacement. Nutrition53.com or lean1.com. You guys are awesome.
I need 53 of those lean ones. I'll be
we
followed
will
up.
get you 53
Awesome.
of them.
And I'll cut back on the frozen pizzas.
That's awesome stuff right there.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk a little bit of the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, man.
'Cause
we
we
got
gotta-
Creature Man himself sitting down. Guys, welcome to Big Game Bound, Jordan Roos, Seattle Seahawks. Guys, I have something for you guys. You guys ready for this? We haven't done this yet on the show. A little bit of a technical marvel. Check out a live look at Creature Man's Instagram page. Okay, look at this. Look at this, man. Look at the flowing hair, the Game of Thrones beard. Man, traveling with a very nice lady here. Your wife. Look at this, man. Talk to us, Jordan. What is this photo? Look at this.
So the coat was kind of a crazy series of events there. It's always something I've wanted, and then I called the guy who made it, and he's talking with him. I'm talking with him, my agent and I, and he's like, all right, well, just send us what you want. Just send a picture and write it down. And he gives us the address, and I'm like, well, why, just send the phone number? He doesn't have a cell phone. He lives off the land. He wanted us to send it in the mail.
The Pony Express had to go up there.
In the actual mail. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's incredible. He literally lives off the land. So I went for it. I mean, I love that thing. It's beautiful.
It's not the typical Purdue Boilermaker look.
No. I mean, I'm from Texas, and I got the hair and the beard, so I feel like you can kind of go Game of Thrones vibe with it.
Did Game of Thrones ever come to you and offer you a role?
No, they didn't.
Not even
I
part
would
of the...
I would be interested in the future if there's any other things like that.
Yeah, we
We
need to get this man right here, everybody. I'm advocating right now. Hey, Twitter, Jordan Roos needs to be on Game of Thrones. Look at full screen. We don't need that. Look at this. And that's going to keep you warm in Seattle
click
too.
on the video. Do you have audio? Can you?
I can't play audio.
I blame Buddy Baker for this. He needs to do a better job of repping you.
What's he doing?
Buddy's my guy.
Get me on Vikings or something.
And here's a great shot of you with the Seattle Seahawks, everybody. Jordan Roos joining us here on Big Game Bound.
Do you like the way that, this used to just be a game where only the quarterback and the running back and the wide receiver got any love, but now with social media, you can go out there and you can express yourself, and you can be an individual, and people can take notice.
Right. It's fun. I mean, then that's the beautiful thing about Seattle too, is it's that this environment is great for players in terms of just being yourself. Show up, be yourself. Show out on the football field, and the environment's been great, and it's been fun, for sure.
So one of our big questions right now, we're breaking down the defenses. So which of these defenses has to have a bigger game, Jordan, the 49ers or the Chiefs? Which one has to make the bigger plays?
I think probably the Chiefs.
Everybody's agreeing with me. He said Niners. I said Chiefs. Romanowski said Chiefs. I think I'm a football genius. That's been proven today here.
And 60% of our Twitter poll seems to think the 49ers, but there's been some real disagreement on that.
So, Jordan, why would you say Chiefs?
I think my guy Raheem Mostert's going to have a big game. I think he's going to have a
fellow
big,
Boilermaker, by the way.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a big standout game. So I think that they have to try to stop him.
So I know 49ers and Seahawks, there's not a lot of love between those two teams. But as an offensive lineman, how much did you love the way they manhandled and road graded the Packers?
Yeah, no, that was awesome. I mean, I don't know. I love to see a good football game, and I love obviously great offensive line play, and so that's cool. And I'm so excited for my fellow Boilermaker. He's had a crazy journey to get to this point, to get the opportunity to go out and show what he has, and so it's great, and he's an awesome guy.
He's a guy that, it took a while for him to find his place.
Like 7 teams, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that at Purdue, that he could be this dominant or this great?
I mean, we would hand him the ball, and he would just take off. I mean, he'd have 80-yard touchdowns just from just hitting a hole in like a tight zone play. And you're like, how did he just run past everybody? And then you take him he went on the track, and he won, I think, 3 gold medals in the indoor Big Ten championships off of not doing track very much. Like, it's crazy.
it's a reminder of, in this league, how as much as he's bounced around, you see the thin line between being a big-name star in the NFL and not even being on a roster. You're fighting for that spot each and every day, and he had a grind, and it's paying off for him now.
It's really incredible. I mean, and sometimes you don't get the shot. Yeah. And the bad part about it is sometimes somebody has to get hurt.
Yeah.
Somebody has to get hurt for you to get the opportunity to go in, and then when that time comes, you got to shine. And so I think he's doing a great job, and I'm so pumped up for him. And a bunch of great guys. I mean, the longer you get in the league, the more friendships you make, and so you're just rooting for your buddies, outside of the back and forth rivalry. It sucks because we were there, half an inch, and might be talking a different story, but I'm excited for all these guys and living the dream.
And Jordan, we know that players also root for you, right? Your story, undrafted, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your rise up to where you are today?
It's been a journey for sure, and I go back to my time at Purdue. I started 42 games. We won 9 games in my time there, but it teaches you a lot about grit and determination and fight. And then I go undrafted, make the team my rookie year at left guard, and then last year I was on practice squad, and then this year I was the backup center. So and I went from and never playing center before. And so my first snap was against the Packers in the divisional game. It was like the 4th play of the game. Joey, his finger popped out, and so I had to run out there. It was like 3rd and 10. And so none of the coaches told me to go in. They're screaming because we don't have a center, and his finger's sticking straight up in the air. And so I look, and Russ is kind of like giving me these hands, like, are you going to come in? And nobody said anything. I just went for it. But that was crazy.
We had David Deal on the other day, and he had his Super Bowl rings on this finger and that finger, because these fingers were going off in different directions. O-line hands, talk to us about those.
And the hand injuries are so bad. You have to.
Throw them up, Jordan. Let's see. How we doing so far?
Not that bad. Yeah, they're
got
not
a nice
bad.
manicure there too.
Yeah, no, they're not too bad. But
when you think about. In the old days, the football players would show up for training camp because they were out of shape and hadn't been doing anything. But you said a good point that you have to be ready when your time is called. So 365, 24/7. There's no off days. You have to be ready. You have to be reporting to every OTA, training camp, whatever. You got to be ready to go right that second, don't you?
Absolutely. And you have to find an edge, too, because everybody's the central theme in the Seahawks is always compete. So, like, I kind of take that and try to find different ways to train that maybe nobody else is doing. And you have to be prepared for your time, because then if you don't perform, then you probably most likely you won't get a shot again.
You're gone.
There's a lot of talk about the quarterback, especially Patrick Mahomes in this game. You play for a really, really good quarterback yourself and Russell Wilson. What is it like to block for a guy like that? And when they start kind of freelancing a little bit, what do? What are you looking for?
You always have to just keep playing. That's like the biggest rule. Obviously you don't want your guy to get next to the quarterback, but there could be crazy. And then sometimes you also have to let go, which is a weird thing to learn. You feel the quarterback rushing out to your right, like that's where holding penalties come sometimes. And so like you have to know whenever your hands are getting outside the framework of your body to let go, because Russ is still going to make a play. Yeah. He's unbelievable. There's times he's running around for, it seems like, 10 seconds and then throwing a ball downfield that's on a dime. It's crazy.
And along those lines, a rule that a lot of fans don't know about is the offensive lineman downfield.
Right.
Sometimes you think, he's really going to just tuck this and run. No, because he scrambled 38 yards behind you, and now he's going to throw it, and that play is going to get wiped out. That's something. Do you have to have that in the back of your mind as well?
Do. Yeah. There's always. It's weird. The more football you play, you have this buffer of where your body is. That's the same reason, like when he's scrambling around, he gets close to the line of scrimmage. You hardly see him throwing the ball, getting a penalty, because their spatial awareness is unbelievable, especially with Russ.
Right.
And so that's just something I think you learn, and at this level, you have to have it. I don't know what the stat would be on lineman downfield on just like a scramble play, but
it's probably pretty good.
Yeah, I would assume that people wouldn't be downfield. Yeah.
So when you mentioned like 9 wins while you were at Purdue, how hard is that to stay motivated when the wins don't come?
Yeah, it's tough. And then, if it keeps happening, right, it just keeps happening, and you got to somehow tell yourself it's going to be different each week. We'd sprinkle in a win after a drought of losses, but you just find, because at that point, too, if you think, I'm trying to get to the NFL, right? So like I have to go out there and perform my hardest, and even when sometimes the game's out of reach, you gotta dig deep and find that grit and determination to
A cool thing too but the Boiler Nation, when you think about wow, look at you got the stars, they come rolling through. When you think about Tyler Trent came into the super fan for the Purdue Boilermakers and had the big upset win of Ohio State, it reminds you how no matter what your struggles were when you were in school, you're part of that family now. And that when you go in the locker room, it's always neat to see the rivalries, guys that went to Big Ten schools or guys that went to SEC schools. You carry that banner throughout your career and then later in life.
Absolutely. And I was at the Ohio State upset.
Wow.
They were number 2, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that game was unbelievable. I mean, I just got goosebumps thinking about it. And I was wearing a pretty similar outfit, and I had a couple adult beverages, and it was the coolest experience. Like you say, the rivalry back and forth. But I felt like I won the game. Like I felt like I played in it, and that was unbelievable. I mean, wow, that was a cool memory just thinking back on that. That was special.
JB, you got some video for us to check out? We got some audio.
I'm trying. Yeah, I can't play the audio on the. But let's take a look here at the video here momentarily. Give me 2 seconds, everybody. And let's see if we can play this back here for us, everybody. Full screen.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. This is Jordan Roos, a.k.a. Creature Man, from his Instagram. Obviously a great follow here, everybody.
Where did the Creature Man come from? Where'd you get that moniker?
So Luke Wilson, the first day I show up in the locker room when the vets come back, he like bumps into me in the hallway and he kind of looks at me funny. He's like, "What do you look like? Some kind of creature? Call you Creature Man." And so he just was not letting it go, and I had to make a decision on whether or not I was going to hate it or just go with it. And so I just went with it. And I love it now. So
had to embrace it.
Yeah, you got to embrace it.
Is that when you know you're welcome to the locker room?
Oh, yeah.
When you get a nickname?
Get a nickname, and then. You got to be able to fire back too. Like you can't just sit there and just take it. So, I think that's when they realize, oh, he's a good guy.
So undrafted. What was that phone call like?
Not getting the phone call.
No.
The silence of the phone call.
The other one, when you got to tell family, I'm in the NFL. I made it.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. We were at Topgolf, and I wasn't watching it. And you better believe, like as that went on, I was swinging hard, getting frustrated, and then Pete calls me and tells me that it's getting late, 7th round. We're thinking about picking you or this running back from Oklahoma State, who turns out to be Chris Carson, who has had an incredible season. So, I mean, getting to talk to my parents about telling them I was going to Seattle was very special.
But then when the coaches didn't take your playbook, they said, "Congratulations, you're on the team."
That was crazy. I mean, that was great. And still, honestly, and every day I go to the building thinking that I'm going to get fired. Which, I'm not like walking around on eggshells, but like that's my mentality. Is like any day could be your last day here. So embrace it, enjoy it, do everything you can to stay in the building and keep pushing and doing what you love. I mean, I've been playing. I've had one job my life, and it's been football, which is cool, to think about, and it's been my dream. So I think anytime you get to live and do your dream, it's special, and so I'm going to hold on to as long as I can.
All right, Jordan Roos,
a.k.a.
Creature Man.
I want to ask Jordan one quick question before he gets up. Your favorite creature movie for Twitter?
Oh, gosh.
Something give me something.
What's the one with Bigfoot?
Bigfoot?
Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons.
There you go.
That's it?
Let's do a remake.
I love
you
that.
Start.
I love
Jordan
that.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you all so much.
All right, Jordan, we'll see you, bud.
Thank you.
Boiler up. There you go. I love hearing those stories about guys that still take pride in their school.
Yeah.
Because then you come in with your chest out a little bit more, come in the locker room on that, on that Monday. All right, we're going to go back to back here. This is why they call it Big Game Bound.
Man.
You know what we're not going to do right now, Chris?
We're
not going to have a dance contest
I think we ought to.
because we're going to get crushed.
Let's dance.
Now, let me ask you this. Some IndyCar drivers, Elio Castroneves, James Hinchcliffe, they went on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
And they say everybody's always asking them to dance. And they say, I can't do it because I learned it, I did it, and now it's gone. Is it the same way with you?
Not a bit, man. Not a bit. I actually fell in love with it. I'm still dancing. I'm actually going to do some dancing tomorrow. There's a style, though. It's a style called Zouk. that I'm really become fond of. Is Z-O-U-K is a Brazilian-style dance. It comes from Lambada. I love it. It's like a mixture of salsa and cha-cha, if I could give any analogy. But not truly. I wish somebody would have introduced me to dance when I was younger. So if somebody come up and ask me to dance, I say yes.
He's ready to roll.
Oh, for the record, everybody, for those of you not clued in, this is Rashad Jennings, former New York Giant.
We forgot to introduce Rashad.
How about, but you know what? That's why we have cool graphics like this one. We could throw Rashad up on camera. And not only a former running back with the New York Giants, also a Dancing with the Stars contestant, as you guys have been noting here on Big Game Bound. We got it all, everybody. Rashad Jennings here live.
Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all having me for a minute.
So how do you like this matchup, the Super Bowl?
You know, it's going to be a good one. I like it because you got the #1 offense versus #1 defense, and just that sells tickets. But this one, I have, if the weather stays fair, I have Kansas City walking away with a big win. I got them beaten by 20 points. And I believe
you got them winning by 20 points?
By 20 points, yeah.
Wow.
For sure. Yes, if the
breaking news here on Big Game Bound.
Fair. Yes, for sure. And I think the recipe in order to do that, they're going to have to wear down their defensive line pretty quick in the first quarter, and I think they can. I think Andy Reid's pretty smart. He's going to do a lot of dinking and dunking the screen plays and make the defensive line run laterally, get them from stopping the run vertically pretty early. And then they get a chance to test that cover 3 that they like running consistently. I think they can get behind that. And Patrick Mahomes can extend plays like no other. So it's going to be a good competition. I believe everybody's going to put it out on the line. But if walking away Kansas City, I think they win by 20.
What does that do to the other team when he goes on one of those spurts and throws 3-4 touchdowns like in a quarter?
It's frustrating. It's depleting. Just being on the opposite side. I can remember when we played my rookie year, all right, I was with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we was playing against the Colts. And that's when Peyton Manning was over there, and they had Freeney on the edge and Mathis, and like it was loud indoors. And we used to sit on the sideline as the offense waiting for our opportunity to get the ball back, which always took forever. And when he would score, and we go out and have 3 and out, and we would watch him methodically move down the field again and score, as an offense, it just kept on punching you and wearing you down, because then you got to get outside your offensive scheme. You can't control the game. So when you see a quarterback that can score at will at any time, it does make you feel like I have to play at a high level, because you never know.
So if Kansas City comes out and scores early and strikes hot and a couple of quick TDs, is Jimmy Garoppolo a good enough leader and quarterback for the 49ers for them to make that comeback? You
wouldn't have to put it all on Jimmy, because that team is so good. I think he's a great quarterback for that team. Great quarterback versus great quarterback for that team. Will he be a great quarterback over time? He probably can, but right now, just right now, there's not a knock. It's just watching it. He's a great quarterback for that team, and I think that team can compete to come back. But no, if them boys get ahead of Kansas City, they're going to start pulling out all kind of plays out of the playbook, and it's going to be difficult because they're a ground-attacking team. I feel like that's where the 49ers' strength truly is. And if they can't control the ground and control the clock, it can be bad.
That's what I've said is the key matchup in this game is, can the Niners run the ball and burn clock and keep Mahomes off the field? Because we've seen it already in the playoffs. KC can come from behind. They can be way behind and come back. I don't know if the Niners can come from way back and abandon that running game, that ground and pound. And if Garoppolo can bring you back from 10, 17 points down, like you're saying, maybe a 20-point deficit, I could see where it would balloon, because I don't know if the Niners could crawl back in a situation like that.
Right, and that's difficult. And you're going to need some big play. I'm trying to see. I wonder who's going to make the first mistake in this game. I kind of feel like Kansas City might make the first mistake, but I think they know how to capitalize and come back. Special teams is going to be a big play. I feel like if the 49ers mess up on special teams, that is going to be the death of them pretty early. They've been strong in special team play and transitioning, and most people don't realize, they get it if you think about it, but they forget. Special team play is always the largest play every single time you're on the field. It's 50, 60, 80 different yards. So if you can control that and minimize it, you put yourself in a better position.
Rashad, how'd you like to run behind that 49er offensive line?
Listen, you fly behind that offensive line. Them boys are good. They're opening up holes. It makes it fun. You get to be creative as a runner when you can run through a line 2 steps without getting hit. And, but not to discredit their running backs and what they've been able to do. Obviously, they're tremendous in most in what he's been able to do and kind of blowing up out of nowhere. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. He's a humble kid, and he's going to continue to grow. But that offensive line is stout. I mean, I feel like no knock. I think you could go out there and get a couple first downs right now.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, you might be. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
he's a gritty fullback. He can go up the middle, maybe get us a half yard if we need a first down.
Maybe.
You talk about special teams. Everybody remembers signature plays. I was at the Super Bowl when the Seahawks beat the Broncos.
I love that Super Bowl.
I know you do. Everybody remembers the snap over Peyton's head leads to the safety. What you don't remember is the special teams play before that. They decide to run the kickoff out of the end zone. They get stopped inside the 10. So now that snap over the head is not a loss of 10 yards. It's a safety. It's a game-changing play. And everybody remembers the highlight reel plays. Sometimes you don't remember the ones that led to those.
Right. It's always those inches. It really is, man. And you breaking it down, that's a great analogy for people to see. If the guy before would have taken a knee, it would have been a 10-yard loss instead of a touchdown. And, a safety. But it's these little details when you start watching the game from the film room that makes the biggest deficit in a game. And when you start watching the details of what Mahomes and San Francisco can bring to what Kansas City can bring to the table, I think they beat them in those little hidden spaces a lot. With first downs, with defensive play, special team play. Cumulative, I think that's why Kansas City is going to come out on top.
So when you're we got to first – let's go to JB.
We got about 3 more minutes here with Rashad Jennings. Really quickly, I just really want to talk to you, Rashad, about this right here, what I'm looking at here on my screen. I'm going to see if I can bring it up here to show everybody here on Big Game Bound because, let's do it. Your Instagram following, 253,000 Instagram followers, man. Look at this. Look at this, man. Tell me about that a little bit and what you're doing to interact with people out there.
Yeah, so I have fun on social media. If anybody follows me, they know that. I love showing people the fun side of life. I love motivating people. My stories are always crazy. I'm always bumping into some celebrities or having fun with anybody on the streets. I ask 50,000 questions. Like I'm your average dude, man, just having fun. Truly, truly, truly. But things on social media. I love dancing. You're gonna see me always dancing. You're gonna see me challenging people and having a blast.
So we can do a pop and lock right now, a pop and lock battle. See what I got.
Pop and lock back. You got it.
Yeah, I got a little something. Let me ask you this.
Okay, hold on. Hi, Twitter. All right, we're gonna say hi to Twitter again. Let's see it, Chris Hagan.
Show that. Watch this. Hey, pass it
over
here.
There we go. Let me ask you this. As obviously, I talked to Jack. Don't have any.
All I've got is this.
As a football player, when you watch a game, when you watch a game, you see things that even we don't see.
Yeah.
Does that translate now to when you're watching maybe halftime dance teams? Do you start, hey, wait a minute, what was that turn? Can you see the intricacies of the dance as well now?
Yes, I really can, man. And so I've been able to learn three pretty good languages so far. I've learned English, pretty solid at it. I've learned football, and I've learned dance.
Okay.
It's truly an
bilingual,
art.
Trilingual.
Yeah. And so when I'm watching TV and I'm watching sports, I look at it with a different eye. And dance now, I completely see it totally different. And listen, both of y'all, are y'all married?
Yeah.
I'm not.
Are you not married? Listen, go dancing. Go ballroom dancing.
Let me
You
write
have
this
to
down.
take your wife ballroom dancing. If you have not done it, you will love it. I went to school and double major in psychology and sociology and a minor in humanities, right? And because I have a desire to be a marriage counselor in the latter years of my life.
That's great.
And one of the things I was able to see on dance is how much partner dance emerges between a relationship of a man and a woman.
So last question, because I know we got to cut you loose.
Yeah, sorry.
Last question, what brought you more fame, football or Dancing with the Stars?
That's tough. I think one led into the other for sure. I can never dismiss football. But it was something about Dancing with the Stars, man, that just really boom.
Stratosphere, yeah.
Yeah, it's different. I jokingly say, I know we don't have much time, I jokingly say I made a career running from oversized, ugly dudes and then transpired that into dancing with beautiful women. So it's been fun.
I think you'll get the same bump in your career from this show here, Big Game Bound. Yeah. I think you'll notice that. You'll get at least 3 more followers on Instagram, and I'll be one of them.
Hey, if you follow me from there, let me know you follow me from the show.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if we can get you to maybe dance a little bit out of here,
Yeah,
Rashad,
man. Hey,
He's not that shy, I think.
Hey, we'll dance. If you see me, definitely dance with me. Just grab my hand. I won't say no.
We're putting you on Twitter.
Won't
Just
say no.
why don't you say hi to Twitter right here while we're
Hey,
doing
Twitter, what's happening, baby? Hey, listen, follow me. I'm at Rashad Jennings. You'll love it. You won't miss it. And Kansas City is going to win the Super Bowl. Watch.
By 20 points.
All
he
right.
said.
20 points.
Yeah, by 20.
20
What's the
points.
score going to be?
Oh, I think it'll be probably, I give it something 40-20 something.
Wow.
That is a bold
Wow.
prediction, JB.
Well, I'm gonna holler at you on Twitter if you're right and give you full props for that.
Appreciate
because
it.
I haven't heard anybody going that big and that bold.
For sure.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Good
you guys.
times.
Thank you so much.
We'll see
Absolutely.
you again. Be good. Be well.
Thank y'all.
How about that, man? The guests have been just slamming today. This,
I know.
This might be the best show we've had, and not just because I'm on it, which that actually took the score down a little bit. But, man, it's easy when you tee them up and they just knock them out of the park like that.
Yeah, and
20 points, though, man. That's
the boldest
I know,
prediction
JB,
yet.
we did some bold predictions that we'll be checking out a little bit later.
Yeah.
Those are some bold ones right there when Rashad says, go ahead and say 20.
Yep.
What would Darren Ravel say about giving 20 points? You talk about leveraging the market.
He'd say, take it.
Yeah, he would.
Take it.
He would say, take
can I have a piece
the
of that?
Niners and those 20 points.
There's an edge.
We got to put those two guys together and see who gets rich and who goes broke.
Are you guys ready to do this? You see it there in the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, everybody. It's time for today's Team Focus. Let's do it. JB Biunno, Jack Doles, Chris Hagan, welcome to Big Game Bound. We have been here on Radio Row all week at the site of Super Bowl 54, sunny Miami, Florida. Would you believe it that it has nothing to do with the Dallas Cowboys here in Miami? I'm so sorry, Cowboys Nation. I'm sure that you would love for Jerry Jones to be here on Radio Row doing interviews talking about his team in the big game. They are not here. The Cowboys, Jason Garrett's out. Mike McCarthy is in. They've got pieces, Jack and Chris. What do the Cowboys need to do to be at Super Bowl 55 in my city, Tampa, Florida? The floor is yours.
They're going to have to find a way to keep some of those pieces. That was a team that underachieved last year.
Oh, yeah. It starts with Dak Prescott. And I think one of the things, every game I'd watch, they would be losing. I'd say, well, they're going to win. They're going to win. And then they wouldn't win. They need to get out of their own way.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the weapons. Maybe that starts with some play calling. Maybe that starts with the new leadership. Maybe you need a new voice in that locker room. But when you look at their big three, when you talk about Dak Prescott, when you talk about Zeke,
Elliott,
Amari Cooper, you're like, how are that great offensive line?
Yeah.
Why aren't you celebrating a third straight Super Bowl? But Dak Prescott, out of nowhere, he kind of falls into that. He was third on the depth chart. Injuries ahead of him. Next thing you know, he's the starting quarterback. They go out and go 13-3. Like, wow, they're gonna just roll this division for years.
They found a diamond in the rough. Yeah.
Something has happened. They found problems that get in their way, and I don't think necessarily it's things that the other team does. It's been self-inflicted wounds.
Well, I think they made the biggest change they needed to make, and that was at the head coach. And Mike McCarthy had some great success in Green Bay. It ended poorly, but usually things that end poorly. But he's got a proven track record, and I think he's a really good coach for that team. But, boy, with those big three, I bet you every GM in the league would like to start with that piece right there. And they've got some really good pieces on defense, but they need more. But, Jason Witten's going to be gone. We've had a lot of talk about the tight end position this week. Jarrett Payton really loves tight ends, really good tight ends. You look at this matchup in the Super Bowl with Travis Kelce, George Kittle. That would be a piece that if I'm Dallas, I'm looking to add in a big way.
Because Dak loved to go to Jason Witten, before him Tony Romo. You have to have a guy like that when things go sideways, some guys go out there and make something happen, like a Mahomes, a Brett Favre. We talked about that earlier. But some guys can't go out there and make those plays. They need a guy in the back of their head. And who's going to be his guy? It starts with, Jerry Jones has a lot of money. He's ready to go out there and give some folks dump trucks full of money to pay him off. I think Dak will be one of those guys, and we'll go from there.
Well, he's going to have to get that dump truck of money for Dak because that contract's about to expire, and it's going to cost a lot to keep him. And the price went up this year. Look at the Cowboys fans. We got to listen to Cowboy fans.
Yeah,
here.
we got some
Cowboy
Cowboys
Nation.
fans here on Radio Row.
And you know what?
There are not too many of those, right?
Dak bet on himself because they, rather than get a deal done before his last year of his contract, he's like, I'm going to go out there and see what I can do. And he put up huge numbers. But as we learned, fantasy numbers don't always translate into real-life wins, and that was the problem because huge numbers, huge success, the touchdown, the interception ratio, the yardage, all great. But in this league, fairly or not, when you're the quarterback, you're judged on wins and losses. Same thing with the head coach. That's why Garrett's out, and that's why some people are still saying Dak doesn't deserve this money. But I think he does deserve it. I think he will earn it. And I think that core group will be hoisting a Lombardi trophy sooner rather than later, JB. So no time to jump off America's team
Is
just
this
yet.
hold on a second, Chris, because you are a sportscaster in Indianapolis. Are you forecasting, are you putting on your meteorologist cap and forecasting a Super Bowl appearance for the Dallas Cowboys in the years to come?
I would say, and you can all come find me in Indianapolis. We'll go to the Indy 500 and have a good time. On me, of course. If I'm wrong, I think the Cowboys win that division next year. I think they reclaim the title in the NFC East, and I think they'll make a playoff run. Maybe not next year, but the following year. I think the pieces are in place. Cowboys, Jerry Jones, America's team. Jerry Jones is going to buy himself another championship.
Well, they should win that division because it's not a very good division.
It's a bad division. I mean, we were looking at the possibility.
Should have won it this year.
Yeah, it was looking like a team with a losing record. It's happened before. A team with a losing record may win that division. Didn't happen. But, yeah, it was like who doesn't want to win it the most? That's what happened. It wasn't like, wow, this is – you see some divisions where the two best records in a conference can be in the same division. That was not the case in the NFC East.
Perhaps we could talk a little bit about this. Jerry Jones is getting up there in age. He wants a championship badly. I don't think age has that much to do with it. I think that he probably wants a championship as much at the age of 50, 60, 70. To him, his blood boils for championship rings, right? How much pressure is there in Dallas right now on that Cowboys contingent? You have Dak Prescott, you have Ezekiel Elliott, you have other key pieces there to build around. What is the pressure like these days in Dallas? What do you think?
Well, let me ask you this question, JB. How many owners are acting as GMs and having success?
It's got to be intimidating to have conversations with Jerry Jones knowing that this is the guy that pulls the trigger on all the decisions within the organization.
Yeah, Robert Kraft has Bill Belichick. Stand back, let him go.
Do your job,
Yeah, he'll stand up for Tom Brady, and there may be some other decisions he'll trump, but he's not in on every single decision. He's got his football people doing that, and Bill Belichick doing that. And I think there's, I'm looking in Detroit, and there's constant change in the leadership there. So they've had Jerry Jones, and they haven't had a ton of turnover at the top, but they haven't had the success on the regular basis.
Well, look at it this way. If all 32 owners of the NFL walked in this room right now, could you name them all? I probably couldn't. But you can name Jerry Jones because everything is bigger in Texas, including the media profile. Mm-hmm. He's doing radio interviews, TV. Like you see Jerry Jones on TV more than Jack Doles, which is ridiculous. He can buy anything. You can't buy a Super Bowl championship. And I think, JB, that leads to the frustration. And then you have the fan base, not only in Big D, America's team. The pressure is always there. That's the pressure they should welcome. And the pressure is big on Jerry Jones because look at the gap in between titles.
Yep.
He wants one bad, but you can't just go out there and shake a stick at it. You have to put in the work. You have to have the pieces in place. And I think they are there. It's just a matter of execution.
So you're in that big – enormous stadium, which is a jewel, by the way, a crown jewel there in Texas. There's that pressure. There's Jerry Jones pressure. And to add to it all, I think the Houston Texans are pretty good. So that other big franchise in Texas right now with Deshaun Watson, they're exciting. Mm-hmm. Have you watched the Houston Texans play football? It didn't look very much like what the Dallas Cowboys did this past year. So if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, I think you're hoping that Chris Hagan here from Indianapolis is right on the money. We're getting closer and closer to the promised land for Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and that core that they put together there in Dallas.
I think they've got a lot of those pieces, but I don't know if they're closer to the promised land because there's still a lot of really good teams in the NFC.
But like you said, that they're the bad division. So all it takes is winning that division, getting hot.
Yeah, you win the division, you get a home game no matter what.
Yep, get hot at the right time, and maybe go on a championship run. We've seen it. Look what the Titans did this year.
Right. Well, look what happened to New Orleans this year too.
But right now you've got Jerry Jones and Dallas. Since their last Super Bowl champion, you've seen your division rivals, the Giants, win 2. You've seen the Eagles win 1. That doesn't sit well with Jerry. I think you win that division, you get a home game. You win that, you're either 1 or 2 wins away from the Super Bowl. You get back in it. So it sounds really difficult, but look at the teams. There's always a team that was underachieving one year and back in the mix the next year, and vice versa. I think the Cowboys will be that team that's back next year.
Let me ask you this. What is the shelf life on this current core right now? Like you just said, Chris, a little while ago, a few minutes ago, that's a really great offensive line there in Dallas. You're probably right. Fans are probably thinking, why aren't we getting to multiple Super Bowls? How much rope right now does Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and the rest of the gang have as far as getting something done here in the next couple of years?
Let's see first if Dak gets that deal done.
Yep.
And then again, we've had this discussion a few times this week. Dak's gonna get paid, which means there won't be as much to spread around, which means you don't keep as many of those people around you. So they need to. They've got to do a great job of identifying players that can help out in the draft who are going to be cheap for them. You've got to do a great job of identifying some other pieces in the free agency market who you can bring in, who can have instant impact. But, yeah, the structure has got to change because Dak is going to get paid.
And that's why they missed a great opportunity to have a franchise quarterback right out of the chute like Dak Prescott, who was not a first-round pick. So you weren't investing all that money in him. Mm-hmm. That money could have been spent elsewhere. You had that piece of the puzzle that other teams pay $20, $30 million a year for. You had that guy at bargain basement prices, and instead of capitalizing on that, now that's gone. Now you got to pay the guy. So on the periphery, who do you lose? What do you cut off around the edges? But I do think that when you get that second contract, the big contract, that says a lot about who you are as well. Because as Peyton Manning once said, what are you going to do with all that big money now? And he said, I'm going to go earn it. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah. And I believe Dak's the kind of guy that will go earn it. Reports on and off the field, good leader, great guy. And so I think they've got the piece. And I know Jerry Jones believes in Dak Prescott, but there's got to be more.
Let me tell you this right now, JB. We could all write down right now on a piece of paper our Super Bowl matchup for a year from right now, and none of us will be right. You never know what's going to happen. This is a crazy league. But if I was going to write down my NFC team right now, I would write down the Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh, there's first. A prophecy. Twitter, I'm going to tag you, Chris. I'm going to tag you.
I'm going to wait until the free agency thing's gone. I want to see
where
the
fun
Drew
in that,
Brees
Jack?
is.
Where you do research? You're going to make an informed opinion? That's not what's fun about Big Game Bound.
Yeah. It is sometimes.
Okay, I got you.
I like to be a little safe.
We're going to wrap up the show here with one of our bold predictions. We've been doing them over the course of the week here. Have you heard of a guy named P.J. Ziegler? I think you've heard of him. Cleveland. Fox 8, I believe. Fox 8 in Cleveland. Let's hear his bold prediction for Chiefs 49ers.
This is PJ Ziegler with the Big Game Bound bold prediction for Super Bowl 54 between the Chiefs and the 49ers. Patrick Mahomes breaks the quarterback rushing record. And by the way, all he would need was 65 total yards, and he would beat out Steve McNair.
All right, there you have it from PJ.
And to dovetail from what we heard earlier from Darren Ravel, those prop bets, you can bet on how many yards rushing Patrick Mahomes, only if it's legal, by the way, in your state. So he's saying he's going to break the record of 65 yards. That might be a way you, with inside information from our P.J. Ziegler, perhaps you sneak in there to that prop bet. P.J. says he's going to have at least 65 yards rushing, and that might be a way to go wake up independently wealthy on Monday.
Can we just acknowledge how crazy that is for 2 seconds that a quarterback has never rushed for more than 65 yards in a Super Bowl? it's crazy, but it's not, right? Because we've seen in recent years, Tom Brady ain't rushing for 65 yards. He ain't rushing for 65 yards in a season.
Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, they're not doing that.
We've seen more of the pocket passer, but I think in the years to come, people are going to believe that one day, my God, 65 yards was the record in 2020?
Mahomes can get that on one play.
Yeah, that'll be my not so bold prediction is that will, with the way the game is changing, that record will be blown out of the water in the next 2, 3, maybe even 2 days.
Can you imagine Lamar Jackson in a Super Bowl? How many yards he might put up? That over-under, they'd have to set that about 112 yards. Who knows?
Is it more of a bold prediction that he doesn't get to 65 yards? Right, as you were just talking about.
Yeah, I think
I mean, what would be the more bold? I mean, we could talk about this all day, but Patrick Mahomes, I didn't think that he was as impressive on his legs as we've seen here in these playoffs. I think that his arm overshadows a lot of his athletic ability, but what we've seen really in the last several games, we're talking about a true athlete on the field. I think it was Romanowski earlier who said, Brett Favre, but mobile? I mean, that's a crazy thought.
And the thing is, with Lamar Jackson, you see his big rushes, they come from a called play, a schemed play. But with Mahomes, hey, this play broke down. He's just, ad-libbing, freelancing, and that's when it turns into a 50, 60-yard play. So that Romanowski said, those are the most frustrating things when you have everything diagnosed and you can't make up for a guy that just has that sheer athleticism.
Yeah, eyes always downfield looking for a receiver or a hole. And I think the league is in a great place right now because you have such athletic quarterbacks with Mahomes and with Jackson and with Deshaun Watson. I mean, these are guys that you really want to watch. And, they're young.
And
they're
the only
at the
problem with
beginnings of
that,
their career. Can they stay healthy?
That's right. We saw Mahomes get hurt earlier this year against the Colts. The shelf life. How long can you ride that Lamar Jackson train? Deshaun Watson, RG3, Offensive Rookie of the Year, beat out Andrew Luck for Offensive Rookie of the Year back in 2012. Career cut short. Still playing, but not the same as he was when he first came into the league.
So here's a question for you. If Tim Tebow was just coming out of college now,
that's an amazing question.
With the way the schemes are heading, would it work?
Well, you'd have to have the right coach because what John Harbaugh has done, he didn't try to put the square peg in the round hole. He said, this is who we have. We're going to build this offense. It's not what the rest of the league is doing or has done for years and years. We're going to take this unique talent. We're not thinking about next year or 5 years. We're thinking about this season. Let's make the offense around him. And I don't think that was something that was afforded to Tim Tebow. Same player today gets in the right system. I think he's got a different NFL career.
And I think that's such a great thing to bring up. Because what is Tim Tebow thinking with all of these mobile quarterbacks right now? I mean, he went to the Mets. He's in the Mets minor league organization doing broadcasting work. But, I wonder, too, could Tim Tebow – I mean, we could talk about this all day, you guys. But could Tim Tebow have been Taysom Hill? That type of player.
Utilize
I think that
exactly.
There were some ideas that he was going to be that archetype before that archetype even existed when Sean Payton introduced Taysom Hill to the New Orleans Saints offense, and here we are, the year is 2020, and that's not the craziest idea to have somebody that can do it all.
But would he have accepted that role? I think that's the question you have to ask there.
Tim Tebow, we're gonna reach out to you on Twitter. Would you have accepted the role of being Taysom Hill, or do you like swinging that bat for the New York Mets? I don't know.
He's accepted the role of playing minor league baseball, which I think says a lot about him.
Yeah.
So he may have accepted the role I always ask this guy, when I put him on Hagan's hot seat, I say, would you rather be the best player on the worst team in the league or the worst player on the championship team? Now, they always say, I'd rather be the worst player on the championship team. But is that real? And that's something that only they know inside their own being.
One more Twitter moment for you here. While we don't get to talk I love baseball. We don't get to talk baseball too much. Better chance of getting to a Major League Baseball game, Jack Doles, Chris Hagan, Kyler Murray or Tim Tebow? Kyler Murray has said, hey, I'm still open to the idea of playing baseball in the Oakland Athletics organization.
Pull a Bo Jackson. I think Murray's much better, much more equipped to play probably right now in the majors than I think, God love him, Tim Tebow, than he'll ever be. If Tebow ever gets called up, it's going to be for a cup of coffee and a publicity stunt. That's all I think he would be able to do.
I think he got to AAA, right, Tebow?
Right.
Yep.
He came through and played the Indianapolis Indians. We saw him out there. He cut his hand. His AAA season was cut short. But he's one of those guys. You get the scouting report on him on what he can hit and what he can't, and he's in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he's playing. He played 2019 with the Syracuse. The Syracuse AAA affiliate of the New York Mets. The mascot there escapes me, but there you go.
The Sky Chiefs?
It might be.
It's impressive.
Is it the? That would be very impressive, everybody.
I could tell you about the Midwest League, but I do. I'll tell you, I love watching minor league baseball. We've got a single A team in Grand Rapids, and it's the Detroit Tigers affiliate. And just to see these guys at the beginning, and then when you see them in the big leagues, and they start making an impact.
Who's the stud that came through that you saw?
Nick Castellanos.
Oh, yeah, who just signed with the Cubs, right?
Reds.
Reds, excuse me, the Reds.
Cameron Maben, when he came through.
Former Yankee.
Can you tell right away when you see him?
What a great guy.
Cameron Maben, yeah. I thought he'd have a bigger career. I don't think the body ever evolved and developed the way to become like the power hitter, but he was like gazelle. When you see a guy get from first to third at the speed he does,
I think, hey, Next Star Nation, if you're listening, I think we need to pitch a new series, World Series bound or something like that. We need to do a World Series preview show with us guys here because I love baseball, football, baseball. Jack, if we throw another project on your boat, I think it's going to slowly start to sink a little bit.
Can't be this summer.
Catch him out in Tokyo. He's doing our Olympic coverage, you guys. Jack Doles, how many Olympics have you covered?
This will be number 11.
Oh,
wow.
My goodness. A wealth of information. Jack Doles, Wood TV. Guys, we have to wrap it up here on Big Game Bound. With, of course, Chris Hagan, Jack Doles. I'm JB Biunno. Great show coming your way tomorrow. Rob Collins, our Kansas City reporter, is coming your way. Also, Kate Rooney from Cron in San Francisco on the ground here in Miami. We're getting closer. We are so close to Super Bowl 54. I hope you're excited as we are. We're going to see you tomorrow, everybody, on Big Game Bound, Saturday's edition, right before Super Bowl 54 right here in Miami. For JB Biunno, that's me, everybody. Also with Jack Doles and Chris Hagan. Jared Payton, a lot of love. Sending some love your way for Next Star Nation. Thanks so much for joining us.